I've just been making a video called The Consolations of Atheism, and I had to stop because my dogs thought there was a dog coming and clearly didn't recognise in the other dog enough of themselves to want to simply pass by, so I had to stop that. But what I was saying in that video, which was pretty short, it's just that, one of the consolations, not consolations, one of the experiences I have which gives me consolation, without recourse to religious or theological belief, is just that I find myself just regarding other people as so similar to myself. It's almost a joke, really. So the idea that I just don't feel separate in that way that that religion seems to try to bind us together. What am I going to say with that? Oh yeah, what I was saying about in that one was just this this response that some kind of hardcore atheists, and as I say, I'm an atheist myself, but that kind of butch atheism which says that when you die, and you're put in a hole in the ground and then you rot. Which it's certainly true of the body at that point, undoubtedly. But I'm just not convinced by that, really. It's just I just think it's an oversimplification, really. It assumes that you, whoever you are at that particular moment, are simply the body that you're walking around in. But that can't be true, because the body I'm walking around in now is certainly not the same body I was walking around in 7 years ago, because all of the cells in my body have replaced themselves over that period of time. And that's something that Dawkins talks about in one of his lectures. He says it makes the hair at the back of your neck stand up on end, and it does with me, that's for sure. So, if having your body rot was a prerequisite for a kind of death, if that's right, then that's clearly not the case. Because most of my body died years ago in the form of shed of skin cells and evacuated stomach linings and all those things. In fact, we're dying all the time, if that makes sense. But I think it's down to this thing about what you are, or what a person is, what a self is. And I'm certainly not making any kind of argument for a transcendent soul or something that exists outside of the body in a kind of mystical, ectoplasmic way. That certainly can't be the case. Well, it's not something that appeals to me anyway. But certainly it does seem to be that we exist in more ways than just in the way that we'll rot. I can kind of completely believe actually, that when my brain stops working, as it does all the time actually, but when it permanently stops working at the point of death, that this particular point of view that I'm having, this perspective on the world, will disappear. And that's a shame. What a loss of society that would be. But I'm quite happy with that. But I know lots of people whose viewpoints have disappeared, and they haven't quite disappeared. I mean that old trite thing about people living on in other people's memories. I'm not sure if it's as trite as it at first appears, really. I mean, to the extent that I'm parroting the words other people have said to me, or that I'm engaging in little fragments of behaviour that I've seen other people engage in, then that's part of their being, which is still alive. If all we are patterns of being, or patterns of activation and that kind of thing, if that's what we're saying, then the copying and reproduction of those patterns constitutes a kind of afterlife. Not in any kind of theological or mystical sense, just in a completely literal sense. I'm not sure that brings me consolation exactly, but it doesn't do the opposite thing, which is that indicating that when you die you rot in the ground. I mean, that statement is deliberately intended to kind of provoke a kind of hard-line, macho, I don't know, one of those kind of relationships to life and death. It's kind of, I don't know what it is really. Kind of Sylvester Stallone atheism. but it misses a lot of facts, I think, really. So I think there are consolations there whether you want to accept them or not. And if you don't look for the facts, if you don't analyze what being alive is in its richest and most complete way possible, without any recourse to religion, then inevitably there will be consolations and comforts there, whether you want them or not.